We're living for the moment now, we're one with the world. I can't lose this feeling I get. My heart's in the right place, and so is my soul, yeah. I won't take no excuses for it. I want it, love it, need it, live it. I feel like something's missing when I do not have it. I feel it in my bones, gotta find my space. These emotions on my face, taking a toll, I gotta pay it forward. I'll give it all that I can. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. Yeah, no what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. I won't, baby. Just leave it to me. I know what I need. You'll find if you see. And if you believe, you live and you breathe, you'll find the key. Lifting me, lifting you. Can't go alone, let's do by two. Doing this together, it's me by you. All through the night, all through the night. This is me, this is you. When we get together, we can all pull through. I don't ever wanna stop this groove. Let's get it right. Take it to the Lord, then take it to the grave. Listen to the wise man, tell me what to say. Listen to your heartbeat like it still bleed. A little bit of hope, yeah, it's what we still need. Say a little prayer for the moment. Give what you got, just go in. Can't hold you back if you own it. Live your life like you're chosen. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. You know what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. I won't, baby. Just leave it to me. I know what I need. You'll find if you see. And if you believe, you live and you breathe, you'll find the key. Know what I need, I know what I need. To find the key.
Chasing love in an empty bar. Pour a drink till I make it past. The midnight hour seems to come and go, but I know. Walk on up with a drink in hand, sipping mixers cause you can. And all the lights begin to switch off. You're chasing the light, holding on for life, feeling the high. Chasing the light, chasing the night, chasing the night, chasing the night, holding on for life, feeding the high, chasing the night, chasing the night. Hotel rooms and city squares, champagne bottles, drum and snare. The sights and cities seem to fall away when you stay. Locked in love for a night or two, losing sleep just to get off you. Day to day you wanna stay out, you're chasing the light, holding on for life, feeling the high, chasing the light, chasing the night, chasing the night.
We're living for the moment now, we're one with the world. I can't lose this feeling I get. My heart's in the right place, and so is my soul, yeah. I won't take no excuses for it. I want it, love it, need it, live it. I feel like something's missing when I do not have it. I feel it in my bones, gotta find my space. These emotions on my face, taking a toll, I gotta pay it forward. I'll give it all that I can. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. Yeah, no what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. If I won't, I will be there. Just leave it to me. I know what I need. You'll find if you see. And if you believe, you live and you breathe, you'll find the key. Lifting me, lifting you. Can't go alone, let's do by two. Doing this together, it's me by you. All through the night, all through the night. This is me, this is you. When we get together, we can all pull through. I don't ever wanna stop this groove. Let's get it right. Take it to the Lord, then take it to the grave. Listen to the wise man, tell me what to say. Listen to your heartbeat like it still bleed. A little bit of hope, yeah, it's what we still need. Say a little prayer for the moment. Give what you got, just go in. Can't hold you back if you own it. Live your life like a chosen. No matter what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. You know what, I won't let up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. If I won't, I will be there. Just leave it to me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to RCI TV for round 4 of the RCI Porsche Cup Season 2. We've swapped the lovely sunset picturesque scenes of the Nürburgring for Zandvoort here in the Netherlands. And my name is Ryan Gill. I'll be your commentator for tonight. And alongside me, he's returned from his 2-week hiatus from the Porsche Cup. It's everyone's favourite Porsche enthusiast, all the way from South Africa, George Smith. How are you doing tonight, George?
Hey Ryan, good to be here. As you know, I do love the Porsches, and it does feel like I've been away from the Racing Club International side of things for a little bit too long. So glad to finally be back here and out at Zandvoort. So this is going to be an incredibly interesting race. Such a tough, tight circuit, and of course the cars that they're driving, beasts in their own right. So I think that we're going to have some good old racing here, and looking forward to seeing what sort of times they're going to put up in the quali session. So practice doesn't always give us the best indication of where they're going to sit, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring.
Yeah, practice is always a tale of two halves, but of course the one consistent fact through practice across the entire season so far has been that Mike Noble's been towards the top of the timing sheets, and that has generally transitioned over to him being the quickest on track as well. Obviously, you did miss a very rainy Hungaroring race in which a lot of these guys found it quite difficult to keep the car on the road. Mike Noble, though, absolutely powered through it, made it look like a typical Sunday drive, and sailed on to the win. However, he did start from the back of the grid for the Nürburgring race, didn't qualify, and didn't quite pull off a last-to-first challenge. He finished second in that race, just 3 tenths behind Martin Lawrence for the Connection Lost Racing team. So Mike Noble won't have that 100% win streak for the entire season, but he does keep up a streak of podiums, I guess, and he's going to be coming in here into Zandvoort, I've been told. He's recovering from being ill over the weekend, and he's still at the top of the practice sheets, George. It's as you would say, it's disgusting.
It is disgusting. He's one of my favorite drivers when it comes down to being in the regular GT3 Porsche. And the Cup car, I think, it requires a special character to love to get to the real fun side of it. I think a lot of people kind of sit on the edge of just feeling like it's going to murder them at all times. And Mike Noble always looks so comfortable. Big fan of him, but a lot of drivers out here are well known in the Racing Club International circles. So I think that the racing that we're going to get, whether it's Mike Noble up at the front or, the mid-pack fighting it out, the likes of Alexander Guglia, you've got Matthias, Torvinen, Floris Mattia, Boswell, Samuel Panker, Lawrence. I mean, the names will just come out when we get to qualifying. So for me, I just love the Porsches. I think it's going to be a true test here at Zandvoort. Not a lot of overtaking opportunities, so I think quali is going to be pretty important. If you're going to pull off a last to first here, it's going to be incredibly difficult. So I think for most of the drivers, it's all about getting themselves up towards the front of the grid, finishing up with free practice, and taking the track conditions over into your qualifying setup. That's what you're here to do in practice. And for the drivers today, it's all about nailing that qualification, getting up towards the front of the order. I'm very keen to see what we've got on our hands today.
Yeah, and of course, it'll be interesting to see what the grid can do. Obviously, Mike Noble not feeling the best, but he is still plenty quick. Will any of the drivers out here be able to take advantage of that situation? But we are moving forward into qualifying, and the cars starting to make their way out on track. And it seems that Mike Noble, well, he might not be feeling his best, but he's the first man out on track, and probably going to be the first man coming around to start the qualifying session and the set of flying laps, deciding that he is going to perform qualifying this weekend. Maybe thinking to himself that being a bit under the weather, probably can't pull off that last to podium challenge that he pulled off at the Nürburgring. And like you said, very, very difficult to overtake around here, and quite challenging, especially in these Porsche Cup cars. But this circuit holds a bit of a special place in my heart, George, and especially with the Porsche Cup cars, because this is where I made my ACC commentary debut. It was actually a Porsche Cup race at Zandvoort. So we're more than 12 months on since that period, about 14 months on since that period, and I've finally made my way back full circle to this place. I'm going to be interested to see how much has changed in the Porsche Cup scene in the last 14 months.
I think your memory a lot better than mine. I can't remember what I did last week. Never mind how I or what I did commentary on. So to you, I applaud your memory, good sir. Mike Noble here in the FFS Racing 123 should be named the Team WTF colors. Really, I mean, I don't even know what you call this color scheme going down. But our first onboard lap for qualification will go underway. Ryan, do you want to take us away as he gets out through, I believe this is Tarzanbacht?
Yeah, Zandvoort is a bit of a challenging one for me, amongst my ability to get names in ACC. But yes, it is Tarzanbot for the first corner. Then it's Gerlach for turn 3. Hugenholzbot is the long left-hander out, and now making his way through Slottermaker box and up to Shavlak at the top of the circuit. Making his way through now. Very, very fast right-hander Mastersbach, and then on to probably the two easiest corners for me to say, Bok 9 and Bok 10 that they have around here at Zandvoort. It's very easy corner names for some of them, and then a bit more challenging for the others, but Mike Noble not finding these corners challenging at all as he makes his way on to the back straight, looking very, very comfortable for the FFS Racing driver at the moment. He makes his way down towards the Hans Ernst box. Very tricky part of the circuit this. Have to make sure that you get the curbs right. Don't take too much of them, but obviously don't go too wide either. You'll invalidate your lap. Up towards Kumho, penultimate corner on the circuit, and I cannot pronounce the final corner. Ari Luyendik box. That's the best attempt I will get at it.
That was
this
amazing. I just applaud the fact that we got Ryan to do some corner names at Zandies. I mean, that's a true blessing. I think I've once sung a national anthem on a live broadcast. So I didn't want to attempt the corner names here. So probably not what we're going to be sticking to for our broadcast today. And I don't think that's
corner
really...
numbers.
corner numbers probably going to be the way that we go. And we see Mike Noble doing a 1:37.4 to get our qualification underway. Mikhail Sandstrom slots himself up into third place because he's been knocked down by Guglia as I'm talking. Alexander Guglia, 1:37.6. And then we've got Mikhail Sandstrom on 1:38, dead in third place. Lawrence Boardman, Gila Callio, Roach, Boswell, Prietti? I always get that. Prietti. Matcha, Burgess, Carefulline, and are all the cars that have qualified so far. So 14 cars getting some laps in. You can see everybody who has managed to get a valid lap starting to slot themselves in. And I think that's the true test at Zandvoort, is really getting a good lap in without a mistake in a car that certainly isn't an easy one to drive around in. So for 19 cars to have got themselves a lap time in already, it just goes to show. First to 9th place, already less than a second between them, and they're only starting to really warm themselves up as we go down into the next 10 minutes of what will be a really good qualifying shootout.
Mike Noble just improved on his time by 0.4 of a second, so finding plenty of time, but of course so are plenty of other people on the circuit as well. Martin Lawrence up by 0.6 of a second. He'll go up to second provisionally and put himself on the front row for now, but still finds himself almost half a second down on Mike Noble. And this is one of the things I want to bring up, George. How can you compete with a man who is recovering from a weekend illness and he's still half a second quicker than you.
You know, that's not even something I have an answer to, as Mikkel Sundström finds himself half a second up on his lap. Oh, a little bit of a oversteery moment. Does manage to rescue it back, but will cost himself that half a second lap delta time that he had. 2/10 now. He will be up on his time. Mikkel Sundström for the nearly on pace 899. We'll know that he's still got a little bit in him, even if he rounds out here dead on even with his last lap. If he doesn't make that mistake coming down, can find half a second, and that will get him up ahead of Martin Lawrence. Not quite onto Mike Noble, but will be a 10th closer. Mike Noble into the pits. That means that there's a bit of breathing room for guys. Sundström will go into second provisionally, but 4/10 down. He knows he can. He knows he can catch Noble though. If we, we're sharing a little bit of inside info that the viewers can't quite see when we looking at some of these lap times. We've got a beautiful live timing sheet. Ryan, is that available to everybody as well? Can they click it and use it if they want to track along with us?
We do, in fact, have a live timing sheet, George. The link to which is in the YouTube chat right now, for if anyone wants to have a little bit of an insight as to everything going on. Some of the data that you
sheets,
can't.
I like
the
to
cheat
call
sheet.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's what makes us look smart. So we look like we know what we're doing. But no, you can definitely follow along with the live timing from home if you're particularly interested in knowing a bit of the inside knowledge for a particular driver, or if you just want to know how far up someone is on a lap time, how much quicker they're going on for you live on air, well, you can look at the live timings yourself. And looking at the timing sheet...
it's Ryan, just talking of that, it's just so cool. It's almost like being at racetracks. A lot of the time...
It is.
When you go and watch that, they give you a little link to the live timing so you can track along. You don't always have access to see footage going on a TV near you when you're there, so it does give a little bit more of a racing type feel, and I kind of love that. I don't know if you ever use the like F1 TV apps for the Formula One. Also nice to follow alongside with what you see on the screen. We're on the splitter cam from Jan Matjes, but yeah, just I really love the live timing side of things.
Oh, it's definitely a great feature to have. I myself have used the live timing before at multiple F1 Grand Prix, and even this year, I had the really fortunate privilege of being able to go to the Donington 3-hour for British GT, and of course use their live timing services on my mobile device, and of course. It really does help you follow along when, like you said, you maybe don't have a TV to watch, or maybe the loudspeakers just aren't loud enough. That is one of the big complaints you see at a lot of circuits, that you can't really hear the announcers or the commentators when you're on track side. But fortunately for you guys, you probably won't have that issue here at home, and you'll be able to hear us loud and clear, but obviously that live timing is available to you should you wish to use it. Back to the action on track, though, as we have 5.5 minutes remaining. Jan Matjes sitting in 6th place at the moment for the Send It Squad Porsche Cup.
He did go and set his best lap there as well in that last lap, 1:38, almost dead. So the Send It Squad trying to. I don't want to be that pun guy, but they're trying to send it up and trying to find themselves a little bit of maybe even get into the top 5, right? Get ahead of Matt Samuel there in that 996 in front. Try and see if they can squeeze some time in. The number 21 of Kerfline, he's 1.4 seconds up on his time, is going to jump up to 18th place. Still going to sit 1.7 seconds off of Mike Noble in pole position. But again, this is one of those race circuits where you either want to start right at the back or you want to start right at the front. And that majority of the people want to start right at the front. But if you are not in the chaotic mid-pack, it can also work in your favor. Keep the car out of the walls. Very small margin for error here. A small mistake into the barrier, big damage, and that's going to cost you time in the pits. So for a lot of these drivers, it's gonna be about managing to keep themselves in between the white lines. And Alexander Guglia here chasing down a third position spot to start the race if he can. Currently in fourth place, sitting on 137.674, 3/10 up, showing on the live timing sheet as he makes his way down to the final sector into the braking zone for this tricky hairpin before you go out to round out the lap through the double right-handers. And Guglia still holding on to some of that lap time. This potentially will get him ahead of maybe Sundstrom, maybe Lawrence, maybe both of them.
It definitely will. 3/10 up.
Yeah, 3/10 now out to second place for Guglia. 3 minutes on the clock. This is the time of the quali where you gotta make it all count. It doesn't matter what you did right at the start. We've seen people take it down to the very line. Mikael Sundstrom, does he better his lap here? He does cross over the line there. Will be a 1:37.536. So he does, and he will then start in third place temporarily. But a lot of things are going to change up here, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. And Mikael Sundstrom attempting to respond to his teammate, taking that provisional front row start away from him. Obviously, Alexander Guglia and Mikael Sundstrom, we know that they've got the pace in them to potentially take that pole position off of Mike Noble. Mike Noble back in the pit lane. I don't think he's going to be going out any further in this session. Probably going to stick it out now and just going to see if anyone can beat him. Martin Lawrence is up by 0.2 of a second coming into the final corner now. It's not going to be enough to threaten Mike Noble's provisional pole lap time, but as he does come out of the final corner, he could threaten for the front row of the grid. It's going to be close, but no, he'll jump ahead of Sundstrom, but won't take that provisional front row start from Alexander Guglia, but he does still have enough time to go again. 3/10 down from the pole sitter. He's already up by 2/10 in the first sector, George. So Martin Lawrence, the man that won at the Nürburgring last week, looking to carry on with that momentum and looking to maybe snatch his second pole position of the season.
He is looking very, very neat and tidy at the moment, and this could be what he needs. He needs to find tenths through each sector as he goes, and he's done a good job to find two through the opening part of the lap. Guglia still out on circuit. Noble, the pole sitter, is sitting in the pit box. Guglia has returned to the pit box, so maybe for Lawrence and Sundstrom, this is an opening that they need. Both of them are going to get these laps in. Martin Lawrence might even get... I don't think he will get to the line before the countdown timer will get there. But there's a couple of cars that will still get a final attempt out here. I see Torvinen is up on his time as well. Oh, 30 seconds. He could. You are right.
He will. No, he will. Martin Lawrence will have enough time to do one more lap.
Will Sundstrom also have enough time to do another lap? I don't think Sundstrom...
No, Sundstrom won't. So this is going to be
perfect. This is the perfect timing for Lawrence, especially with the fact that he can find time on this lap. Doesn't make it up on that one, so maybe in his mind also figured out that he might have one more in him. Into turn one, an immediate 10th goes up against him, and going through the tricky second and third corners. He's still finding time, Ryan. So this is going to be interesting to see if he can nail something here right at the very end.
Well, he did this last week, Martin Lawrence. He set the pole-setting lap on the final lap of qualifying. It was an incredible show to assert his dominance and say, well, look, if Mike Noble's not going to be on pole, it's going to be me. But with Mike Noble back up at the top, does Martin Lawrence have a response? He needs to get on the front row of the grid, ideally, if he wants to challenge Mike Noble for a win here today. I've said that multiple times now. If anyone's going to beat Mike Noble, they need to be ahead of him after the first corner, because he will just pull away. Martin Lawrence up by 1/10.5 on this lap. It's not enough to threaten for that provisional pole position right now, but it is enough to put him on the front row of the grid. Guglia in the pit lane. He's finished his qualifying session. Gogo Panka crosses the line to finish his session. He'll be no higher than 6th, but Martin Lawrence, mistake into the...
Throws it away. Oh,
yep.
No.
Mistake into the penultimate corner.
He's just going to go into the pit box. I mean, that wasn't going to be the change up at the very end. It had the build up we thought it was going to be, but it's the first rung of the ladder. That, as the qualification concludes, drivers will start to prepare themselves on the grid, and we will have a look at our championship standings, I believe, Ryan.
Yes, we will. We'll have a look at the standings to make sure that everyone knows exactly where we are concerning the championship and where everyone sits. So it is, at no surprise, Mike Noble at the top of the standings, 181 points from the first 3 races so far. He's got 2 wins, 2 pole positions, 3 fastest laps, and of course 3 podiums to boot. So 181 points for him. Bart Matcher actually sits second in the championship, though. 3 really good results from him to put himself up in the contention for runner-up in the championship. I very much doubt anyone's going to take Mike Noble's first place away in the second half of the championship, but surprises can happen and anything is possible. Jesperi Hilakalio is third, followed by Mikhail Sundstrom and Peter Roche. And you can see how tight it is for those positions as well. Just 5 points separating third through fifth. Andrzej Dedicek and Martin Lawrence, 6th and 7th. Guglia, Peretti, and Porter round out the top 10 for the Pro Split.
In
Continuing
11th
on.
place. Oh, sorry, Ryan.
Oh, sorry.
I wanted to get involved with your championship standings as well. I felt a little bit left out. So
you can take it away, George.
Andreas Kaefelen in 11th place on 85 points. Matt Samuel sitting in 12th place on 79 points, only 3 points ahead of Jake Boswell in 13th. Daniela Flores in 14th place, ahead of Dustin Vust in 15th. They're separated by 4 points. So a lot of close contention in the points across the orders. Jan Matjes in 16th, David Gill in 17th, Gergo Panka in 18th on 68 points. All 3 of these drivers tied up, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Joko Torvinen also on that 68 points. And then Quade Claessen's rounding out the top 20 on 56 points.
Yeah, Quade Claessen was unfortunately informing us today that he's had to pull out of the championship. So unfortunate for him. Marcus Stein, 21st though. Pascal Bobbert, Jonathan Bentz, another South African actually. And he is actually present here tonight. Wojciech Brigas, followed by Sebastian Luigi Vita. Andy Boardman, who has had 2 very good performances in the first 2 races of the season, but 2 of the races he's attended, as he did have to sign out for one of them, but he's just not really had the luck go his way. Panos Karata, Stephen Vust, Matteo Richter, and Nick Rinders. And I believe Matteo Richter and Nick Rinders are not competing in the championship anymore, alongside Cody Pride and Jan Saganowski. Those drivers all on 0 points. So, with the championship standings out of the way, everyone knows where we all stand. I think it's time we work our way down the grid. So, starting on pole position, it is Mike Noble, the championship leader, as always, towards the front of the grid. He's got Alexander Guglia for the nearly on-pace team alongside him on the front row. Martin Lawrence and Mikhail Sundstrom will line up side by side for the second row of the grid. Jesperi Hilakalio has Gergo Panka joining him on the third row. Matt Samuel and Jarkko Torvinen. It's 2 FFS racing cars on the fourth row of the grid. And Dedicek and Matthias round out the top 10. Andy Boardman has Peter Roche alongside him in 11th and 12th. And the rest of the grid is Keiferlein, Peretti, Marcus Stein, Daniele Flores, Bart Matcher, actually runner-up in the championship in 17th place. RCI's very own Jake Boswell down in 18th. Burgess in 19th. Wust in 20th. Jonathan Bentz 21st. Jill in 22nd. And then Stephen Wust finds himself all the way at the back on his own on the final row of the grid.
I love the sight of 23 Porsche GT3 Cup cars all lined up together. I love the paint jobs that have gone down. I mean, I want to say I love all of them, but I would be lying to say I do love all of them. I'm not going to tell you which one I don't particularly love the most, but...
Well, I can tell you that Mike Noble's paint job tonight is inspired by his current feelings after recovering from that weekend illness. That's what his livery tonight is inspired by, I have been told. I
mean, it makes me feel many different things inside. I mean, I don't want to hate some people's color choices, so I'm just gonna swiftly move past that.
But George, it's not Mike
yes.
Noble if the car doesn't look hideous, is it?
I mean, sometimes one man's hideous is another man's pretty. You know, I've found myself on the side of not really hating the abstract colors that go down, but this time around, I have no words for the number 1, 2, 3 that lines up on the front row. It's not my cup of tea.
I'm going to be getting a very angry email from Mike Noble later on, but as he continues on with his goal
for the hate on the colors that are
probably. I mean, he has made it his
worst.
goal. He has made it his goal to make the ugliest cars in ACC, and he is very much achieving that goal in my eyes.
What we have talked about for the last minutes and 30 seconds are the paint job of that number 1, 2, 3 on the left side of the screen.
I mean, it clearly works. It draws attention.
He's grabbed our attention. I mean, his lap times, his dominance in the championship, that wasn't there, right? I mean, that wasn't why we knew it. But as they get down off the jacks, they're going to start their cars up. They're going to start to pull away. This is the exciting part. And there we see the disgusting 1, 2, 3, driven by the very disgusting Mike Noble. I mean, those two are very different uses of disgusting, by the way. One is for the color scheme, and the other is
I was about to say there's the complimentary disgusting, and there's the not so complimentary disgusting. But the cars do pull away for their formation.
I do hate that second last driver just drove straight through our drone pilot. That means we're gonna have to get another DJI out on the grid.
Oh,
so,
you do realize we're not getting paid now. That's gonna have to come out of our wallets.
It does, because the spectator bans at the circuits not paying the bills, and losing a drone out on the flyby of the grid start, definitely not going to go our way for the paychecks. But Mike Noble, he does not care. He leads us away on the formation lap as single file they go, trying to get themselves up to temperature. And out here at Zandvoort, very nice sunny conditions, 26 degrees track temperature, 20 degrees ambient, so pretty good conditions.
It is very nice conditions out there, and Alexander Guglia, you can see how closely he's following Mike Noble. I think there's only one thing in his mind at the moment. He has to beat Mike Noble into turn 1. It's the only chance that he's going to have of winning this race. You have to be in front of Mike Noble at the start of the race. We've seen it in the endurance races. We've seen it in the sprint races. If you cannot beat this man into turn 1, more than likely he's going to drive down the road and you'll never see him again. Unless he laps you, in which you will see him again. But at that point, not really racing him anymore. But he's going to be difficult to beat here tonight. He is the man with the target on his back. He's a bit under the weather. So if there is any chance of Guglia, Lawrence, Sundstrom, or any of these other guys to take a win off of him today on merit, they're going to have to do it today. They're going to have to beat him into turn 1. If Alexander Guglia can be ahead of him at turn 1, it opens up the door for the rest to put pressure on him and maybe follow through. We are getting ready for the start then. We're halfway into the season. 3 races down, 3 races remain. Round 4 here at Zandvoort for the RCI Porsche Cup. Championship leader on pole, Alexander Guglia alongside him. Bart Matcher, runner-up in the championship, starting all the way down in 17th. He's got work to do here today. But 2x2, as the eye can see, and they are green here at Zandvoort, and it looks like a pretty good start from the championship leader of Mike Noble. He's not going to lose any ground to Alexander Guglia into turn 1. He's going to take it nice and smooth, and Mikael Sundstrom looks like he went just a bit too deep on the brakes. Martin Lawrence will sail on past, and it looks like Hilakalio has gone through as well.
Yeah, that was a mistake coming out from Mikael Sundstrom. Tried to go around the outside, then at the same time had to wrestle with the oversteer that he was getting through. Looked like a pretty clean start coming out from the grid, though, looking back towards the field of cars. We see Matt Samuel in the midst of a battle, going 2 cars wide after coming out from turn 4, and they're going to stay 2 cars wide coming around the fast right-hander. And this is going to be very interesting. Inside line comes down, and Matt Samuel just going to be in a very interesting position. Mathias and Roche just trying to also hold on to the train. Ryan, this is the kind of driving that we want to see. Samuel going to tuck back in behind Mathias there in front of him. You just see a good exit coming out there from a couple of the cars, going to get themselves a couple of car lengths ahead. Andy Boardman down into the braking zone on the back end of Burgess. He sits in 14th place, the number 69, as Carefulin in that number 40 behind holds up a little pack of cars. It's Priotti, Flores, and Stain behind there, but Andy Boardman all over the back of Burgess. A good exit out through the final corner. Is he going to be able to make a move down into turn 1? Going to use as much slip as he can. Will go alongside later onto the brakes and getting it done. Does he overcook this? Oh, a little tap comes out, a tap back, and across the track he goes. And that blue Porsche all over the track, getting collected by traffic at the same time. This is absolute chaos for the cars involved, and the stewards will be having a look in there. That was not the move that we wanted to see for one of the first overtakes on the racing circuit. And as we said, Ryan, it can go wrong here at Zandvoort, and it does almost 3 minutes into the race for some. Jesperi Hilakalio in that number 56. He's having a good race at the moment, up within the top 5 and holding on to the back of Lawrence in that 171. So very much in a contention to get himself onto the 3rd place on the finishing podium. If he just continues to hold out, put some pressure on, maybe have a little look later on. But 57 minutes of racing, I mean, that's a long time to have to fight it out. So you do want to kind of settle yourselves in at this phase of the race and just try and look for some neat and tidy opportunities when they arise.
Yeah, a couple of little incidents have happened on the first lap, but Daniele Flores looking to make way at the moment past the likes of Wojciech Burgess and, well, Andy Boardman. He's kind of having a bit of a Valtteri Bottas season. You know, everything he seems to do, pulls off some amazing moves, and then unfortunately just gets caught up in an incident that I don't really think was his fault. But like you said, the live stewards, they will have work to do. A couple of people already in the pit lane to serve their 1 mandatory pit stop for this race. Remember, they have to pit and take at least 1 litre of fuel to satisfy that requirement. And a few of those guys, Giacomo Peretti in particular, coming in on the very first lap, and we've seen Keiferlein and Boardman now coming in on the timing board, although Boardman might have damage and he wants to get that fixed as soon as possible. So I think we can have a little bit of look at one of the incidents that happened on the first lap, I believe. Here is Dustin Verstappen. Oh, just being put into the wall there, I think that was. And then, David Gill and Dustin Verstappen. Not sure who that was at the back there. That might have been Jake Boswell, actually. And someone else was losing it a bit. Oh, this was Steven Vust, I believe. Was it being put into the wall? Oh, so the Vust brothers collide against each other. That's going to be a bit of an awkward conversation between the two of them later on. Here's Bart Matcher as well. He's apparently been caught up in an incident earlier on in the race. Oh, just got touched by Wojciech Bigus. Not really anything doing there, though. Bit of a racing incident. Not really that much time lost for Bart Matcher. But speaking of the runner-up in the championship, started 17th. He's up to 11th so far. 6 places gained for him on the start. Not looking too bad indeed, as Mikael Sundström aims to regain 4th place from Jesperi Hillikallio.
I said it would be difficult to start from the back and finish towards the front, but Bart Matcher certainly trying to prove that wrong. Almost into the top 10 there as we follow on board with Mikael Sundström. The number 899 going to be putting a lot of pressure onto the 56 in front. And it's that stage of the race where you want to stay as close as you can, but at the same time, it's very much a circuit that has many tight and twisty turns, some mid and medium speed corners, and some high speed sections as well. And all that aero variation is going to play into effect. So if you are following a car in front, there's a little bit of a struggle too. So Mikael Sundström is going to be settling and trying to not really get too close behind the car in front unless he intends to pass him. But at the same time, I think all racing drivers are always going to be trying to edge forward unless it's a specific strategy that they're following. A little bit deep into the final couple of corners, you see number 56 go, and Hillikallio maybe struggling with some of the grip levels. As I mean, it's also hard to say. These cars do kind of get a little bit oversteery. Kind of what makes them a little bit fun to watch as well. So not really sure to, it's fair to say that he's struggling with grip. I think these cars themselves, just watch them around, they're very bouncy. That's a great apex coming out from Mikael Sundström down into turn 1. Lights on full for his little front array of lights. He's going to make sure that he keeps that pressure on. Jesperi Hillikallio is going to be our onboard footage here, Ryan, and this is always a great little shot. This is positioned just underneath the exhaust pipes as well. So, am I right that those are the exhausts above us?
Those definitely are the exhaust pipes of the Porsche Cup car.
You can show me Porsche exhaust pipes anytime, and if they spit some flames, that's going to go and add some extra bonus points down.
Maybe have to censor that. Viewer discretion is advised. Mature content only. But Mikael Sundström, he's not too keen on looking at the back end of Jesperi Hillikallio's car. I'm sure it looks nice, but he'd rather be in front of it and showing his own back end to Jesperi Hillikallio. But to do that, he's going to have to get past the Finnish driver, and it is a bit of a battle of the countries up north, isn't it? Mikael Sundström from Sweden, Jesperi Hillikallio from Finland. And of course, don't forget Jarkko Torvinen as well, just behind these guys, also from Finland as well. So a few of these guys, very similar region of the world, but all coming to race here at RCI. And Mikael Sundström, he is very, very consistent. One of these drivers had the pleasure of racing alongside him in the Night Owl Championship as his teammate. That championship for me hasn't quite gone to plan, but Mikael Sundström has soldiered on nonetheless, and he is an incredibly consistent driver, very adaptable driver as well. Ooh, just loses the back end a bit. Not going to worry him too much though. I've seen him driving in the Porsche Cup car, of course, here, and seen him drive in the Mercedes, the BMW, the Aston Martin. He's been driving all sorts of different cars mostly front-engine cars, but of course not the case here with the Porsche Cup. And I think that's one of the traits that, you know, kind of does define a very solid driver, is that adaptability. Being able to switch between cars, you know, completely different handling of cars as well, and being able to be, you know, right up there at the front, no matter the car, no matter the field. Something that definitely does define a great driver. Gergo Panka, one of the Kunos devs for the FFS Racing team, chasing down his teammate, Jarkko Torvinen, and Matt Samuel just behind them as well. So the FFS Racing team all sticking together, it seems, as they have done for most of this season. In fact, Gergo Panka and Jarkko Torvinen right next to each other in the championship. I think they're even tied on points with 68 after both of them missed the first round of the championship. So the battle between these two, quite literally, George, could not be closer.
Really could not be closer, and every round counts when you're coming down towards the last couple of rounds in a championship, especially if you're tied up with some drivers. So going to be a defining moment, I think, as we are halfway into our championship. And for them, it's all about making sure they get to that checkered flag. The positions that they're in now are great points-paying positions, but they continue up. They can make some more positions if mistakes are made in front of them. They're hoping to obviously not lose positions behind, up ahead of the field. The places that we're talking about could be at risk from those drivers behind. Not currently at this point in the race, though. Martin Lawrence is getting so much closer to the likes of Alexander Guglia, and he's right on the tail splitter of the number 898 as they come down into through the exit of turn 11, making their way down to that treacherous turn 12 and 13 complex. Kind of have a little bit of camber to help you round the exit at the end, but getting the car turned around, it's a very tricky spot. At this point, Martin Lawrence does seem to have some very, very good braking points. I think that's where his advantage is coming out over Guglia here. He's a little bit more brave on the brakes. He's not scared to try and push those braking limits, and that's where he's closing down the straight end. Guglia going to be pulling himself away, but a little bit deeper into turn 1. That's going to allow the 171 to reattach and start to become a pest through the first sector here at Zandvoort.
Martin Lawrence knows that he needs to get past the likes of Alexander Guglia if he wants to have any chance of closing down the likes of Mike Noble. And in fact, looking at the best laps set by all the drivers at the moment, I think it actually, yes, it is. It is Martin Lawrence with the fastest lap of the race so far, not Mike Noble. So, you know, looking into that, Martin Lawrence being held up a bit here by the likes of Alexander Guglia will want to get past as soon as possible. And of course, if these guys were teammates, maybe there would be that conversation between each other of, hey, will you let me through? But Nearly On Pace and Connection Lost Racing, two completely different teams, so there won't be any sort of conversation between these guys. And Alexander Guglia, he's racing his own race. He doesn't really care about what Martin Lawrence has to say. But Martin Lawrence had a good look on the inside there. Thought maybe there was definitely room. And almost got a move done.
I mean, you cannot deny that there was some good sportsmanship coming out there, even though the room was there. No one crossed over any apexes. Nobody tried to slam any doors or do any reckless dive bombing. Lawrence maybe a little bit lenient on his attack there and not seizing the moment where he should have. Guglia very late on the exit out from turn 13 there, and that did cost him. So Lawrence will continue his view. We will jump on board the Connection Lost Racing Porsche Cup car, and we get a lovely view of the 898 rear end, and a beautiful bum to see. That Porsche, I feel like I'm a bit biased in saying this, but really does have a great design, and I love the way that these cars drive around. You can kind of see that bouncy nature and this sort of softer suspension at play from these onboard cams, also the splitters. You can see when they go over the curbs, and you can just kind of see a little bit of the body roll coming in. You kind of want that to absorb some of the power that comes out from the rear engine as you get down onto the accelerator pedal, and you don't want it too stiff up either. So it's a nice balance point. I myself have never quite mastered getting the best of the setup styled in for these things. I always feel like I'm walking on eggshells around Porsche Cup cars, but I love them nonetheless. And for me, positioned up here with you, Ryan Gill, in the commentary box, this is exactly where I like to spend my evening. The treacherous, dangerous machines below us, they can be left to our professional racing split.
Yeah, professional racers here indeed. And we have got some penalty news for you. Andy Boardman has apparently received a drive-through penalty for an accident on lap 2. And we should be able to get a replay of that for you. And here it is, Andy Boardman. So apparently Andy Boardman's been given a drive-through for this. Now, maybe it's not for this contact right here. I wonder if the drive-through per se is for not holding the brakes after the contact, potentially, George, because I don't think Andy Boardman's been given a drive-through for the contact that Wojtek Brigas, conducted. And I think he's probably been given a drive-through for the second phase of that incident, where he maybe didn't hold the brakes and rolled back across the circuit. So, interesting one there from the stewards. As we see Martin Lawrence getting all over the back of Alexander Guglia again. Is he going to have a dive down onto the inside? He's going to have a look. Is he going to have the space? Not quite able to do so. And Alexander Guglia survives again.
The thing is there, right, is if you try and have the inside line coming into turn 12, you put yourself on the outside for the big right-hander. And yeah, you can get a good drive coming out from that, but you almost have to try and attack turn 12 round the outside and set yourself up to get the cut back on the inside for turn 13. It's such a difficult corner to master, and a lot of overtakes do take place there. Maybe here into turn 1 again. Alexander Guglia, he just leaves a tiny little... I mean, he's a bit of a tease, isn't he? Just leaves a little room. There's very wide. Now he's going to keep the inside line. Forces Lawrence to go out wide. And again, we talk about it. It's all about racing line here at Zandvoort, and not a lot of room to do so. You put your car in the right place, make yourself as wide as possible. It makes it almost impossible for the driver behind you to get something done, especially when you are in a Cup Series where you're in the exact same cars. You got the same power units, so you don't really have an advantage on any elements of the track. It all comes down to driving skill and perhaps an element of how you've set it up. But the way that Guglia's rear end keeps stepping out, I think the bum of that Porsche not looking very settled. And at this stage of the race, 42 minutes still to go, I think that's not going to be a comfortable position to be in. Peter Russia is going to have a replay here. I think he's had an off-track moment. Not quite what we captured on stream there, but nonetheless, gets a little bit of free replay time. Martin Lawrence is going to resume his chase down of Guglia. This is a storybook, Ryan. They're writing chapters, writing pages, lap by lap, and at some point, Lawrence is gonna try and cash out and try and see if he can get something sent against Guglia.
Yeah, Martin Lawrence looking for a way past. 5.3 seconds up the road is the likes of Mike Noble. And that gap grows ever bigger the longer that Martin Lawrence stays behind Alexander Guglia. He's going to be hoping that he can get past Guglia sooner rather than later. I mean, Mike Noble just did a 138.9 for reference. Martin Lawrence did a 139.1. So Martin Lawrence, I think 0.2 slower than Mike Noble. With Alexander Guglia in his way, I'm willing to believe that if Martin Lawrence can get past Guglia, he can catch up to the likes of Mike Noble. And with 41 minutes left of this race, a 5.4 second gap is plenty to close down. And is he going to have another look now coming down towards this tight, twisty section of the circuit? No, not thinking of it this time round. And Alexander Guglia, it has to be said, it is difficult to overtake around here, but he's doing a really good job of holding up Martin Lawrence. We've seen a couple of occasions where Martin Lawrence clearly quicker on the entry of the corner and just not able to hold it round the outside or even on the inside of some of the corners. So it has to be said that Alexander Guglia is doing a phenomenal job. Here is Keiferlein. He's already made one of his mandatory pit stops, as has Giacomo Peretti just in front of him. And they're currently battling for 19th and 20th.
These two cars have some beautiful colors on them. I like the pink and gray of Prietti in that 191. And then, I mean, is this a bit of a lime green slash... I mean, it's got a bit of a goldy vibe as well. I'm not even sure. It's like a chrome green. Chrome lime green with some blue. I mean, the colors have confused me, but I quite like them. I mean, it doesn't even have everything, right? It just has... I mean, what color is that green? It's like a chrome lime, right?
I would say it's definitely
not
more
chrome.
akin to
Satin lime.
Metallic. I think it's satin metallic.
Satin metallic. I mean, we one at a time. We'll piece together the correct paint combination.
We'll get there eventually.
Join us today on Paint Discovery with George Smith and Ryan Gill as we look at the wild colors of Giacomo. How do I say Giacomo's name? Giacomo Prietti.
So pronounce it as if there's no G-I-A. Pronounce it if it's just J-A. Giacomo. There you go.
Proetti. Do I say the O?
Proetti, so you ignore the I.
Proetti. Okay, ignore the I. Giacomo Proetti.
Well, we figure out the pronunciation of Giacomo Peretti's name.
I mean, I would rather ask you what it is than get it wrong all the time. I've probably got it wrong already, but
don't worry. We've all done that, George. We all know we all know that much.
Keiferlein as well. I've got his name wrong when I've said it, so I've learned how you've. Is it?
Well, don't worry. Simon and I have butchered his name last week as well, so we've all learned a lesson. But apparently, we do have a replay for number 310, Jonathan Bentz. Apparently, he received a drive-through penalty. Well, we have the reason why, and well, he goes off on his own. Oh, comes back across the circuit, and that's one of the Wust brothers that he's hit.
I mean, I'm sad because I know Jonathan Bentz. He's one of our South African drivers from here, and that's a disappointing situation that he found himself in. But when you are coming back across the racing circuit here, Ryan, I mean, even when you do grab onto the brakes, a lot of the speed that you're carrying can become so difficult. Look at Martin Lawrence here. He's still just stuck out behind Guglia. Can't get rid of him, and now he can't. Both of them. What? He's in the wrong place. Helicalio. Is that coming? Yeah, that is Helicalio coming in to now maybe take this off of Lawrence. I mean, how does Guglia go off? Lawrence follows him. Helicalio comes in, and Sundstrom then on the charge. That 899 on the inside. Is he going to get some room to get into the right place? No, Helicalio going to be able to recover this, but I mean, that suddenly changed that. Guglia, who was holding up Lawrence, ran wide in the blinker zone that you are when following a car. Lawrence follows him, and now Helicalio and Sundstrom join them, and then just behind them, Torvin and Panka and Samuel. They're all placed together in their own little trainer cars. So this is starting to prove to be an interesting part of the race. 36 minutes in, mandatory stops to come down. You got to ask yourself, is it worth going in and getting your pit done and getting yourself out of some of the traffic? Helicalio certainly getting the heat turned up right now and very wide. There goes Lawrence. He's lost some tires. I mean, he's cooked them up on the previous lap, and now he's going to be struggling for rear end grip. He's lost one position, and can Sundstrom take another off of him? He will be on hotter rear tires. That's going to really affect the way that he can get himself out through Sector 3 here, and it's all going to be down to Sundstrom. How does he get this move done and planned out? He wants to get past Lawrence as quick as possible because he was on the tail end of Helicalio before all of this went down a lap ago. So he doesn't want to lose out on his potential to hold on to the cars in front.
Well, Martin Lawrence, it was all going so well, and now it's all not going so well as he finds himself out of the podium places. I kind of get the feeling that Martin Lawrence maybe should have come in to the pit lane, tried the undercut, try and find himself in some clear air. You know, George, I mean, I know you're a big advocate of that strastrategy if you're getting held up
and
by
cooling and it cools down your tires now. I mean, you've really put a lot of temperature in. You've been losing control of the car, going through the pits, even just to go and put that liter in. You are going to bring the temperatures down and hopefully extend some life out of it. So it's very advisable, I suppose, in that situation to have a look at doing it. These guys know what they're doing, so my strategy's out the window. They don't really matter. Data check is going to be all over the back of Marcus Steyn as they come down out through the exit of turn 4. And it's all about just putting yourself in the right place at the right time. You saw how that worked out for Helicalio. Suddenly, that 5.4 second gap between where he was to where he took that position of Lawrence, I mean, it just evaporates, and you just get yourself a free position because of a driver error, and you've just had the consistency there. So championship consistency, race consistency, that's what it's all about.
Ondrej Dedicek trying to get his way past the likes of Marcus Steyn. And just keeping track of where Bart Matcher has gone over the course of this race. Of course, started in 17th place, has made his way up into the top 10. But of course, the runner-up in the championship at the moment will probably be wanting to get a bit further up the grid if he wants to remain in that top 3 in the championship. And apparently we do have an incident to look at between car 323 and 420. This is Wojtek Burgos and Daniele Flores, I believe, in here. And ooh! Now, that's an interesting one. I've never seen anyone hit the brakes that hard going into that corner. And, yeah, fairly self-explanatory penalty there for Wojtek Burgos, but bit of an interesting one. I haven't quite seen anyone brake to that extreme coming into that long left-hander. But look at this, the FFS Racing cars. Jarkko Torvinen, Gergo Panker, and Matt Samuel all in a train, as they have been for most of this championship so far. And the 555 car, apparently, Marcus Steyn has just received a stop-and-go 30 from ACC. He's received it from the sim itself, not our live stewards, and that's for speeding in the pit lane. So, another one caught out this season, speeding into the pit lane. It can be so easily done, and it's why practicing your pit stops is important. And it's going to be something that Marcus Steyn, well, it's going to ruin his race, that's for sure. As I'm pretty sure he's just decided to retire from the race. Yes, he has. He's dropped off the timing board now. So unfortunate that for Marcus Steyn, he was doing a decent job. But unfortunately, he'll take no further part in this race. Meanwhile, Gergo Panker still trying to find a way around his teammate. Jarkko Torvinen making life difficult for the rest of the FFS Racing team in front of them. But of course, doesn't have to move over for them, even if they are teammates. And I'm pretty sure that Gergo Panker won't want to be given a position. He'd rather earn it on merit. especially against someone like Jarkko Torvinen. So 29 minutes into the race, we're already, or just about, up to the halfway point in the race. Mike Noble does still lead the way. An impressive lead that he has over the likes of the second place car of Alexander Guglia for the nearly on pace team. And Martin Lawrence getting a bit too eager behind third place Jesperi Hillicalio. Mikael Sundström in 5th, Jarkko Torvinen 6th, Panka 7th, Samuel 8th, Roche 9th, and of course Bart Matcher, mentioned before, has made his way up into 10th. And this is starting to get a bit touch and go now for the likes of Martin Lawrence. He's found himself behind Hillicalio. He's struggling to get past, and if he keeps making mistakes like that, Mikael Sundström is going to get past him sooner rather than later.
Really is going to try and get past, and like you said here, this is the battle that we want to see. When you see cars close together, we want to see battles throughout the field, and if we can see them up towards the front, I mean, that's always going to be the most exciting. It's always good seeing something towards the back of the grid, but where drivers are fighting out for big points playing positions, it's always going to be a favorable place for a commentator to be able to witness some good racing. And Zandvoort here, I mean, it really is a battle to make sure that you do not find a wall. I always seem to describe it as the Monaco of GT3 racing. I think this and Bathurst, the two circuits that really do punish you for going off circuit. The runoffs here, the speeds that you're carrying, you can just see how loose Lawrence is still looking behind here. So I think for Sundström here, the opportunity to pass on Lawrence will be there. And Hillicalio not really getting away from Lawrence as I thought he would after we saw Lawrence staying out, thinking maybe he needed to reset himself. But as the chase continues, he's kept himself in a great position to be holding on to the back of third place here. So I take back my words of wisdom. And the likes of Martin Lawrence not needing a reset. He wants to keep up the chase. And he wants to get those positions back. And Hillicalio, that car that is now going to be putting pressure onto Guglia. So this might work out in the bigger picture for Lawrence, because he could not get past Guglia. Guglia was making mistakes where the biggest mistake was made on the exit of turn 14 all those laps ago. Lawrence made the exact same thing, and that's what gave this number 56 that position in the first place. So for Jesperi Hillicalio, he's going to have a stab at this, and he's also going to have to defend against Lawrence. Lawrence trying to look a little bit eager through the fast and windies, and electing to tuck back behind on the inside. Going to have a little look. He's going to get through. He's going to have a nudge. He's going to run over the curb, and he's going to have to just go into the safety zone and recover and just put himself back behind the number 56. But that was getting hair-raising and interesting at the same time. Sundström will see all of this going down in front of him, and he will want to get in on that action.
Jesperi Hillicalio probably just had the fright of the season. He probably thought he was clear from Martin Lawrence, and then all of a sudden Porsche's poking his nose where it probably shouldn't be, but no incident between the two of them, which is good to see. Matt Samuel did go off in the background on the previous lap, so he's dropped time to the likes of Gergo Panka. He was right on the back of them, but he's now 4.4 seconds behind them. And we have not quite a complete battle here for second place, but we do definitely have about 6 cars all within just a few seconds of each other. And it's going to get very interesting to see how all of this plays out when the pit stops come through. See who wins and who loses out on that occasion, and if we will have any close moments. Daniele Flores has been given a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So another driver falls victim to speeding in the pit lane this season. It's been a bit of a common theme that we've seen with a lot of these guys, George. And, well, whilst we're on the topic of speeding in the pit lane, I mean, I don't know about you. And I guess I can kind of ask you this in a sense. We both do racing whenever we get the chance. We don't get to race often, especially not around here. But we do race in our own little bubbles whenever we get the chance. Have you, do you find frequent issues with slowing the car down for the pit lane, or are you like me where before every race you have to practice it at least 3 times to make sure you get it right?
I mean, I'm even more on the safe side of things. I think I slow down a little bit more to make sure that I don't risk getting something that is going to be as costly. A second or two for me to slow the car down isn't worth the risk of a full drive-through penalty. So I'm always on the edge of caution.
Oh, Martin Lawrence has made a mistake, George.
He has behind. I can see.
Martin Lawrence has made a mistake.
He has indeed, and this will be him going into the pits, I believe. So we are going to get a replay of where this has happened. This is his corner that he made that mistake before, and he is just going to miss that braking zone, and that's allowed Sundstrom to get a nice and easy move done, and he will peel himself into the pit lane. So maybe then deciding that this was not worth the risk. Mikael Sandstrom going to be set free. Torvinen also then going to enter in. So we are not taken or given the opportunity to see the moves being done between Sandstrom and the likes of Lawrence fairly on track. But, that's kind of the way that racing here at Zandvoort always works. I feel that a lot of the time it's all about pressure and making mistakes and being the driver to lap those up and take those free positions where you can. Hilicalio in the exact same position that Lawrence was in all those laps ago. He cannot get past Guglia. All of these drivers wanting to chip in for a ticket to send Guglia to Thailand, far away from where they are here, because he's just holding up this pack. And deep goes Hilicalio. He's going to miss the braking zone. He's going to rejoin the circuit, and he's going to put himself right in front of Mikael Sandstrom. So again, like I said, Guglia, a voice of charge and just stopping everybody from getting through there. He's the gatekeeper. He's holding everybody up from being able to chase down Noble. Noble, he's had no screen time in that number 1, 2, 3. He just runs with Torvin.
Jarkko Torvinen carried a bit too much speed to the pit entry there, and I'm pretty sure that Porsche needs a new front end.
Those are moments in live streams that you wish that broadcasters don't capture. And having we talked about how fast do you like to go into the pit lane, and Torvinen answered how he likes to do it. He likes to do it white hot and maybe pick up some extra damage going into there. That's a bit that is going to be a yikes, because you are going to impact your aero now for sure, and you're going to be racing against cars that haven't been having that. Is Mike Noble doing some drifts here? Because it looks like he is. Maybe that's the way he's going to get some.
To do so, doesn't he?
I mean, if we get some drifting Porsches here, you might lose me, because those are two things that I would combine any day of the week.
Well, Mike Noble drifting his way through the race so far. 22.5 minutes left to go of this race. Still has to serve his mandatory pit stop, but has a 15.9 second lead over Alexander Guglia. As George has described it in the past, absolutely disgusting performance from the likes of Mike Noble, and he's going to carry on his way. It's going to be interesting now to see what happens with Martin Lawrence, though, George, because he lost the place to Sundstrom through a mistake, but he then came into the pit lane immediately. Now he's got some clean air, 2.7 seconds between himself and Ondrej Tedesek in front of him. He's got some clean air. He's got some time to compose himself, get himself recentered, focused again.
Do you see Gogo Panker showing us the way that you should be entering into the pit lane this time around?
Well, he's a Kunos dev. I should hope he knows his way around the pit lane.
This is what I'm saying. He's giving us the picture-perfect entry, not making use of the walls to get yourself around like a bumper car. And Jesperi Hilicalio is going to get another stab up towards Guglia. But that's a good talking point, right? Is Lawrence going immediately into the pits? He's lost the time out to Sundstrom regardless. That mistake being made out. But he's then gone in and pitted. So if these cars still continue to lose time to one another, and Lawrence comes out in a space where he can actually put those lap times in that we saw in quali, where he does have some fresh air in front, I think that's where the benefit will come in. He needs to nail those. He needs to come out with some fresh air. But look at Guglia. Such a tease. Leaves the door open, a little peek inside, and then quickly slams it shut, gets on the loud pedal, and leaves the cars behind him in the dust. And it kind of works out for Guglia, because every time he kind of parks it up, he slows down Helicalio. Sandstrom then becomes the problem for the number 56. And Helicalio then has to, keep watching that rearview mirror, make sure that he's not at risk from losing out of position to Sundstrom. So I really like the drive that Alexander Guglia is bringing out here. I think he's proving that he certainly knows how to defend here and just make sure that even through mistakes, he gets back onto that racing line so quickly, and then just forces everyone to have to go onto an alternate line, which just doesn't work here. It just doesn't.
Alexander Guglia taunting his opponents, it would seem, but you can only get away with that kind of racing for so long before it comes back to bite you. And I'm pretty sure that Alexander Guglia isn't intentionally taunting his opponents, but he's doing the best that he can to be that gatekeeper that you spoke about earlier, the one protecting second place at the moment. But the big question is going to be, where does Martin Lawrence come out in all of this? Surely he has to be lapping quicker than Alexander Guglia, and he actually is. Last lap for Martin Lawrence, a 139.1. Last lap for Alexander Guglia, 140.5. That's, 1.5 seconds quicker per lap for the likes of Martin Lawrence. So definitely going quicker, and this is going to become a problem for Helicalio and Sundstrom now, because they're losing time. And if I was one of them, I'd be looking to get into the pit lane.
Exactly. They need to get into the pits here. They're losing so much time, and this is playing all into Guglia's hands. And at the same time, like you said, Lawrence, he's getting that fresh air. And he has. And Sundstrom, is he going to be able to go? He's going to go onto the inside. Sundstrom's just going to immediately go into the pits. So he's not even going to bother trying to go down. That's a good call coming out from Sundstrom. And Alexander Guglia just
I feel that's 3 laps too late, though.
I feel like it is a little bit too late as well, but we're gonna have to wait and see if he does come out, and also maybe for Sundstrom it's gonna be a good thing for him to also not be caught up behind the likes of Helicalio. I mean, that's the car that he's been following since the start of the race. So let's see where Lawrence comes out here compared to the likes of Sundstrom.
Sundstrom's lost out to Gergo Panker, I think that is.
It looks like it is Gergo Panker. Has Lawrence got through this? I don't think so. So
Lawrence has already gone through.
Has he?
Martin Lawrence is coming out of... Well, he's going through turn 5.
Right. Yeah, there you are, right. So it's certainly worked out, like you said. 3 laps a little bit too late.
So Mikael Sundstrom's lost a lot of time. In fact, he's lost a place to the likes of Gergo Panker, obviously Torvinen. In fact, Jarkko Torvinen, now that I look down the list, has disappeared. So I wonder if that damage that he sustained on pit entry was enough to probably consider it terminal and call it a day for Jarkko Torvinen. And going to pop open the drinks a bit early and put his feet up and watch the rest of the guys. So Jarkko Torvinen, no longer here in the race. That's quite unfortunate to see. Was doing quite well there in front of Gergo Panker. Now, here's Guglia and Helicalio again. And I kind of have the same feeling I had with Sundstrom, with Helicalio. He should have gone in 3-4 laps ago.
A little bit too late. Maybe the opportune window gone through, but either way, gonna have to deal with the repercussions of the decisions made out, and this works out for some people. Maybe some people lose out That's the way that the racing goes. I kind of like that aspect of the planned pit stops and the way that they need to manage these sort of situations. Getting caught up in those battles, it's so much fun to be, caught up in that, and you kind of want to keep the race going for a lot of the time, because those situations in these tin top GT3s, this is the kind of racing that you want. You want side by side, you want some action. But I think here at Zandvoort specifically, the pit stop, making use of that to jump some positions for free, certainly going to work out for the championship standings and the points that you take home. It's not always going to give you the best racing, but it's certainly a decision that you have to make and foretake on. And if you've made the wrong decision, you have to live with those consequences. So Helicalio still not anywhere closer to having that look onto Guglia. Mistakes, or let's say defensive lines that Guglia takes, regardless of what happens there, nobody has been able to get through, and it's cost every car that's been caught up behind a number. See that even there, Guglia, small little mistake into the braking zone, gets back onto the racing line and makes sure that he just holds it off. So this is an interesting situation that Helicalio finds himself in. And Ryan, I think your calls and your predictions getting caught up behind this, just absolutely spot on. Not where you want to find yourself.
I just wonder as well with the likes of Martin Lawrence. I mean, I get the feeling Martin Lawrence is going to be ahead of Guglia and Helicalio, no doubt, when it comes to Guglia and Helicalio coming into the pits. And that's one of the things that I wonder with the fact that Lawrence is going to be ahead of these two regardless. That undercut has worked. Why did Martin Lawrence spend, what was it, 10, 15 laps or something, just trying to get past Guglia? I can understand wanting to make the overtake on track, and obviously I can understand, not really wanting to use your pit stop maybe to get past Guglia, and maybe use that pit stop to get past Mike Noble if you can catch up to him. But I kind of get the feeling he should have played that undercut card much, much earlier in the race, got past Guglia as soon as possible, and then tried to close down the likes of Mike Noble. And if you couldn't close down Mike Noble anyway, well, then it's not such a big deal, and you're second place regardless. I mean, you've still benefited, in the end. And Helicalio comes into the pit lane. He's decided he's had enough of Alexander Guglia's rear end. And you can see Martin Lawrence coming through the final corner now. He's going to be well ahead of the likes of Jesperi Helicalio by the time he's out of the pit lane. And you can bet that if he's well ahead of Helicalio, he'll be well ahead of Guglia as well.
It's all about that numbers game when it comes down into the final places in the race.
Gergo Panka!
Gergo does get through there. So this is a big drive coming out from Panka. A good pit stop strategy, like you talked about, is going to play some dividends here. And the final 12 minutes, I mean, you know how difficult it becomes for grip levels in the regular GT3 cars. But I mean, look at how it becomes now for these guys, as they really have to put the pedal to the metal and try and find something. I mean, once all the pit stop strategies are served out, you find where you are out on the circuit. It's all about getting it to that checkered flag. And Helicalio, not going to be able to hold on to the likes of Panka at this stage. And it's all about how Sundstrom can try and see. I mean, that number 56 definitely is going to be struggling coming out from the pits. And this opening stage of the race, or the shall I say, the lap 4, Helicalio is where he's getting himself back up to temperature. So, I mean, this is all about how the battle up at the front has changed things up for the drivers in the mid-pack, Ryan.
It definitely has, and something I've had my memory jogged by. I mentioned that this was the place where I had my first kind of commentary debut within ACC, Porsche Cup at Zandvoort, something that stood out to me on that day was how bad Porsche Cup tyre wear is around this place. This place really does punish your tyres in a GT3 car, and especially so in these cars with no traction control on them. And this is one of the things that I'm maybe thinking here is that, yes, Gogo Panka had the right strategy to undercut these guys, and it's come off really, really well. But has he maybe conserved his tyres a bit more? Has Gogo, because he's not been directly following someone for as long, yes, he was following Jarkko Torvinen, but he wasn't right on his back end for the extended period of time that the likes of Martin Lawrence or Hilicalio were when they were trying to get past Guglia. So has he managed to maybe conserve those tyres a bit more, and has that played a big part in this second stage of the race, where Gogo Panka hasn't just gained time because of the undercut, he's also gained time through his tyres being in much better condition, and Hilicalio struggling here. Sundstrom's going to be on the inside. He's going to go all the way down towards the back straight now. He's going to have the outside line for the first part of this corner sequence, but he's going to sweep through past Hilicalio and get the move done, and beautiful does define that move as Sundstrom finally gets past Hilicalio. And that place he lost at the start of the race is finally his again. But Hilicalio almost giving him a little nudge on his way.
Just a little a friendly bump and run, but not going to make any contact there. Does slow the car down. What a good bit of timing coming out there from Lawrence. Spotted the opportunity, did exactly what we said. Needed to set himself up. And for Peter, where does he come out here? Looks like he is going to drop down behind the leaders that we were looking at anyway. So for him, it doesn't seem to be the pit stop strategy that we're going to be talking about. I'm not 100%. I mean, he is up into 5th place. Into 9th place. Is it 9th? 8th place. So he is ahead of Matcha, who has made his way from 17th all the way into the top 10 into 9th place on that timing sheet. So that's a good drive coming out from the man sitting in 2nd place in the championship. But these two here, I think Ryan called it with the likes of Panka. He had a much easier start to this race, had some tires to certainly leave for the final push here, and has that worked out for a couple of other drivers as well? We're not quite sure. Matt Samuel there in at that 996, also closing down on the likes of Hilicalio and Samuel. So potentially last 8 minutes battle between all three of these cars. It looks like Sundstrom has got past. I mean, once he got past Hilicalio, he's kept a couple of car lengths ahead, so hasn't really had to go too defensive. That's going to allow him to just kind of get away from needing to worry about that. That's the worst thing when you're struggling for grip, having to go defensive and putting yourself at risk, going side by side with another car, especially in these cars. No traction control in the cup cars, so the way that they can just swish out and kill the driver next to you can be race ending. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation coming down into the closing phase of the round. And Matt Samuel there is going to be just spotting out that potentially there's a little bit of pace that he has above the two cars in front who have spent, I mean, for the entire duration of this race that we've watched them, they've just been battling it out. And it's these tricky, fast right-handers that Zandvoort brings out. They can snap you around. You take a little bit too much curb, you touch that dirt on the exit, and you just find yourself shooting off the track. So it's all concentration all the way to the checkered flag, right? No one can afford a mistake at this phase.
No, definitely not. And if I'm Alexander Guglia, I just think he's thrown away a podium here. Guglia should have pitted when Martin Lawrence pitted, I feel. Or if not, definitely when the likes of Jesperi Hilicalio pitted, because I get the feeling he's going to lose out massively here. So he's come into the pit lane, just under 7 minutes remaining here. And I'm seeing Sundstrom and Hilicalio come through the final corner right now. You can see there is Mikael Sundstrom on your screen. So remember, Alexander Guglia has spent the entire race in second place. Gergo Panka has just gone past him. There goes Sundstrom. There goes Hilakalio. Here comes Matt Samuel. Is he going to be through? Oh, there's contact. Between the two of them, Matt Samuel will go ahead. And is he going to give it back? He is going to give it back. So Matt Samuel feels he was to blame for that incident. And he's decided to give it back to the likes of Alexander Guglia. Nice to see there from the likes of Matt Samuel. I'm not entirely sure myself who I would blame in that situation, but Matt Samuel has obviously judged that he was in the wrong on that one, and he's given the place back. So Alexander Guglia has dropped to 6th from 2nd, and
but Panka up onto the podium into the 3rd place.
Definitely so. But you have to think to yourself, Guglia's thrown this away, hasn't he?
No, I mean, you're not wrong about it. He's certainly made the wrong call coming out, considering, the position that he would have been in. But hindsight is 2020. It's so easy from here to see where you need to plan that out for Guglia. It just is going to be a learning curve, I think, coming out and taking this and seeing where he can improve from there. Like you said, spending the whole time and race duration in 2nd place and then coming out and having to settle for 6th place, that certainly will sting, and it won't sting anyone more than it will sting him. So as much as we feel the mistakes have been made, I'm sure for him it must be unsettling. But at the same time, the losers are the losers and the winners are the winners. And the likes of Martin Lawrence and Gago Panka, they've got themselves up into the podium position. So the happiness that will come out from them will balance out with the saltiness that will come out from a missed strategy, I feel.
Yeah, one man's loss is another man's gain, is the saying. And as Alexander Guglia loses out on a potential podium, Gergo Panka is thrust into 3rd place. And obviously with Jarkko Torvinen not really going to be scoring any good points after his retirement, and Matt Samuel being down in 7th place, this allows Gergo Panka to kind of solidify himself as the 2nd best FFS racing driver on the circuit. Of course, he's not really going to be topping Mike Noble, but Matt Samuel's not quite done with Alexander Guglia. He said, okay, well, I've given the place back to you, but he said, that doesn't mean I'm not going to try and overtake you on track. 6th place is potentially still up for grabs for Matt Samuel, and the British Drift King will be looking to make his way up into P6. He's got his pride on the line as well here. He's going to be wanting to show that he can stick it on the likes of Alexander Guglia. Didn't need to stay in front of him to show that he can give the place back and then still overtake him later on the circuit. So 3 minutes to go here at Zandvoort. Mike Noble leads the way from Martin Lawrence, Gergo Panka branding out the top 3. Sundstrom and Hilakalio in the top 5. Guglia Samuel, who you can see here, we're on board with right now. Peter Roche, Bart Matcher and Jan Matthias in the top 10. Not much changing throughout the rest of the field. Everyone quite spread out.
Did you Guglia there? I mean, taking a step off the racing circuit, immediately has a Code Brown moment and recovers the car, puts it in the right direction, but certainly struggling, Ryan. Exactly the word to be looking for. And Samuel, I feel, might even regret having given that position back, because we've watched Alexander Guglia for the entire race in 2nd place hold back drivers behind. His defensive driving seems to be something that nobody's really been able to contest with. It's had to be pit stop strategies that have got them past. So I'll be interested to see if Matt Samuel manages to make his way around here. 2 minutes left on the racing clock. And this round here at Zandvoort, so close to finishing out, but also so close to having some different narratives finishing right at the end. Where does Matt Samuel go on the likes of the 898? Is that the likes of, is it Roche coming behind him?
It is Peter Roche.
Peter Roche
the Connection
joining
Lost Racing team.
joining into this little train to add to the excitement levels here. Again, this works out for Guglia. When he was defending, he always had 2 cars behind him. So if he becomes a little bit at risk, he knows that there's 2 cars behind that are going to be equally looking to get themselves up into a points playing position. But Ryan, a minute left on the clock. Mike Noble has just had a disgusting drive. And I'm a fan of disgusting things, especially when it comes down to Mike Noble's disgusting ability in a Porsche Cup car. But
the complimentary disgusting.
Complimentary disgusting. I don't do any other kind of disgusting. Only complimentary.
Well, you had
Mike
some
Noble's
disgusting
livery.
things to say about his livery choices earlier on, but I guess
For
we'll
sure.
leave
Maybe
that later. Alexander Guglia drifting round the corner. That's going to give the gap open for Matt Samuel. Matt Samuel, a drifter himself, will be pretty happy to see that.
Oh, but he's open.
Looking pretty good, but it's not over yet.
As he left it open, he's going to do the inside line for the next left-hander. But where does Guglia go? All 3 of them, where do they go? And it looks like Peter Roche also going to be having a look. Samuel going to leave this. He is going to get ahead, but Roche and Guglia are going to be dragging it down to turn 12. The inside line is not where you really want to have it. Can't close and squeeze the door off here. Look at the 21. Going to have the inside line. This is what we talked about. And that's a brilliant move coming out from Peter Roche on the very last stretch to do the work that he needed to do. Alexander Guglia going to be robbed of 2 more positions. Insult to injury comes down. Hilicalio is behind Sandstrom at this point. So another last lap battle going to come down. Ryan, heated Porsche Cup moments. What more could you ask for?
Final lap of the race then. Matt Samuel would have had a grin on his face seeing the drift that Guglia performed on that previous lap, but he'll have an even bigger smile on his face because he's taken the place from him as well. Peter Roche will be happy to pick up a freebie as well, but he did have to work for it. Meanwhile, Hilicalio putting the pressure on Sundstrom here. Sundstrom finally took that place back that he lost right at the start of the race, and he's not going to be too keen to give it up either. Meanwhile, Alexander Guglia, he's made another mistake, pushing so hard to try and get this place back. Oh, just to say, nudge the back of Peter Roche's car. Hilicalio still pressuring Sundstrom, but Mike Noble comes through the final corner. He's off actually as well as he comes through the final corner.
He's doing some 4x4ing out at Zandvoort. Did some drifting, did some 4x4ing, but he eventually will get back on circuit and he will take the win. And we'll jump immediately back there to Hilicalio and Sandstrom. Can anything change up in the final 2 corners? I don't think it's going to be that change up that we would have liked to see if they are going to go side by side. Not going to go side by side to the line. Lawrence going to take home second. Panker a 3rd place on the podium, wrapping out the podiums, and then Sandstrom and Hilicalio go home to take 4th and 5th place.
So an incident here that obviously we didn't catch amongst all that action happening, and that was Jake Boswell and Giacomo Peretti, I believe, and Jake Boswell was given the place back by Giacomo Peretti, I believe, in that instance as well. So there are the final the final race standings, should we say, for this event. Mike Noble, race winner. Martin Lawrence and Gergo Panker are your podium sitters. Mikhail Sundstrom, Hilicalio in the top 5. Samuel Roche, Matcha, Guglia, and Matthias round out the top 10. Keiferlein, Dedicek, Boswell, Peretti, Jill, Flores, both the Wust brothers. Stephen in front of Dustin. And Wojtek Brigas finishing down in 19th place. He didn't finish the race, actually. Finished 13 laps down. Jarkko Torvinen, Marcus Stein, Andy Baldwin, and Jonathan Bentz, the retirees from this race. And, well, for some of those guys out there, it has been a difficult race here today. But it has been an enjoyable one indeed, George. It's been great to have you back here in the commentary box. And it's been absolutely fantastic to have everyone watching here tonight. We have to say a big thank you to our partners, Race Department AK Informatica and Raceface Speed Labs. Obviously, Race Department helped RCI get back up on its feet, and AK Informatica provide us with all the servers for our events. They do a fantastic job of keeping us going. And of course, if you want to replicate the kind of performance that Mike Noble did today, you can check out Raceface Speed Labs driver coaching and use code RCI Coaching for a discount on your next Speed Labs session. There is some great coaching from professionals of the likes of Bruno Cadilli and Jordan Sherritt. If you've heard those names around the sim racing community, you know how quick they are. And definitely good value for money as well. Mike Jones gave it a thumbs up, and if Mike Jones is willing to give it a thumbs up, then you know it's pretty good. So that's going to be it here today at Zandvoort. The 4th race of the championship is over, and we will be back next week for the Porsche Cup. George, it's been great to have you back here, and obviously we'll be back in a week's time for the 5th round of the championship. Only 2 races to go. Mike Noble looks to have the championship pretty much wrapped up already. In fact, he'll probably statistically be able to wrap it up next week. But of course, all still to play for the rest of the championship. But thank you everyone for joining us here tonight. Big thank you to the stewards here today. They do a phenomenal job day in, day out of all the live stewarding that happens here at RCI. And we thank you all for watching. So look forward to next week. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.